Okay, we're back. This is Chief Paul Ricard of the Mount Hope Police Department, and this is the January edition of Coffee with the Chief. I apologize for the technical difficulties we've been having on Facebook Live. We're not really sure what happened, but we will get to the bottom of it. I know there was no sound for the beginning of us originally on, so I will just real quickly go over what I was saying. March 21st, in honor of Women's History Month, we're going to have a women's self-defense class at 9 a.m. It's a Saturday at the police station next door at the community center. So any women that want to come down and take this self-defense class, there's no cost, and it should be Chris Coyle is going to be doing that for us, and it should be a really good class. So come on down. You don't have to live in the town. Anyone can come. And the other thing is, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of feedback on the bail reform. And one of the things I just wanted to mention was we've made some progress. There has been some changes in the, or proposals to change the legislation. I know our Senator Jen Metzger, I've spoken to her, and she has proposed a change to the law. So hopefully we'll have more information on that. We didn't want that to be the only thing we were putting out, so we've stopped putting some of the information out, but you can find it on many other websites and see what's going on. So for January, we wanted to talk about fitness and wellness and health, and my guest is today, and she's had to endure a lot this morning because we've had a long delay, Natasha Gramilla. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay.
Yes.
I've had a hard time. I don't know why saying her last name because I see her all the time. But she is a fitness instructor, and she's into fitness and personal training, and she teaches some classes. She does her own personal training, and I thought this would be a good month to talk to her about health and well-being because we're in January and everyone has those New Year's resolutions. So welcome, Natasha. I apologize for all the delays. So why don't you introduce yourself?
So, like Paul said, that's my main gig, fitness. So for, I want to say 6 years now, I got into it on my own, and from there, I realized instead of, I want to say when I started, I had a hot dog stand. So I tried to make it as healthy as possible. I was just doing my own fitness routine at the time, getting healthy, losing a bunch of weight actually. And from there, I had the idea of, instead of the hot dog stand, because it just didn't work out, I wanted to do something with fitness because I started to love it myself. So I guess I decided to go for certain certifications to be certified to work in gyms and to work with people. And from there, I just keep growing into different types of fitness programs and certifications and things like that. And yeah.
So why don't you tell us some about the different formats, different class formats that you teach?
So right now, currently, it's just like functional bodybuilding, I want to say. So there's no certain like style. It's just an all-round like fitness routine. So you have your cardiovascular strength, some types of strength training, whether it's flexibility or balance training, just everything all in one. So I just want to call it, basically, it's just functional fitness training.
That's good. So how I met Natasha was about, well over a year ago now, right?
Yep.
She was working at a Rose Studio in Port Jervis that Lauren Mortensen was running or owned, and that's how we met. And when the studio closed down, I kind of followed Natasha because I enjoyed the routines.
Yep.
So what activity would you recommend to someone who has never been active before?
Walking. That's so simple because, I mean, anyone can start by just walking, whether it's 10 minutes a day and then you build it up to 5 minutes, you know what I mean, each week. And from there you build your stamina and, you know, your speed, you get a little pace, and then from there you're going to feel like, all right, I want something more in my routine. Walking, of course, is, you know, it's so simple to do, you know what I mean? You you have to walk and use your legs in your everyday life, but from there, you know, I'd say then you build a routine, you find what you like. I'd always tell people that have never, that even came into the row studio or even come into the gym that I'm at now, and they're wondering, where do I start, whatever the case is. You start out simple, and from there you find what you like, what your routines are. Obviously, strength training is also amazing for longevity, and not a lot of people realize that. They think that it makes them bulky and whatever the case is, but for their physical fitness and for longevity, cardio isn't the only answer, but I'd say to start simple and start small by walking.
So we have my fan club here today, and they were all started today walking, and it's about 18 degrees, and they were out walking for an hour. So they were here, and so that's what they do. And you guys enjoy the walking, right? Yeah, they don't want to talk. They're just nodding. So, what would be an effective workout schedule for someone that wants to just lose weight? What would you recommend? How would they get involved in that?
I mean, at least I always recommend to people that come to me at least like 3 days a week. You know what I mean? Find time in there, even if it's just 45 minutes. And if it's working with a trainer or without, or doing a class for about an hour or whatever the case is, you have an hour out of your time in your, you know, in your day. So you find whatever works, whether it's early in the morning before work, whether it's whatever your work schedule is, or whatever you do in, you know, your daily routine. I would say at least 3 times a week. You start out from there, and then, you know, say 5 times. You can work out, you know what I mean, as much as that person needs.
But is it okay to work out every day? Because that's...
Of course. I think that you need, you know, your recovery time, and I would recommend, like for me or a lot of people that I know, and it depends on what you do. You could walk every day of your life and you'd be fine. You'd be, you know, able to recover still and get good sleep and whatever the case is, but I'd say if you're working out, it depends on the intensity of the workouts. So to answer that question, if you can work out every day, it depends on what you're doing. Yep.
So we're in the 3rd week of January, and we joke about it, but in the gym, the first week it's mobbed. You can't get a parking spot, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone has those New Year's resolutions. And by February, people have started fizzling it out. So what are some ways that people can stay consistent throughout the year so they don't fizzle out? Like, how would you recommend they go about that?
Change your routine. So whatever you're doing that, you know, you might feel like, okay, I've been doing this, whatever the case is, it got boring, or whatever it is that's unmotivating you, no one else is motivating you but you at the end of the day. So you're the one that has to get your butt in the gym, or whether you're working out at home, whether you're walking, whatever the case is, you find that, you know, that mental, you know, note in your head, or that voice in your head that's, you know, pushing you to get in there. But then also, if your routine is the same, which you typically want to change up your routine every like 4 to 5 weeks, depending on what you're doing, you know. So a varied, you know, exercises basically. But I want to say just change up your routine if that's what's you know, depending on what's unmotivating you. So yeah.
I think for me it's the consistency. I like the consistency, so I try to. Tuesdays, Thursdays, we have a class that you run, that some of the people in the class are here, and we have a good time with that. And then I try to see you at least 1 or 2 other times a week.
Right.
And it's hard, but that seems to be the key. Once you get going and you start seeing some improvement, I think that is a motivator too.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, also to add to that, so measure your results. You're a man that likes, you know what I mean, to measure your results, like to see, you know what I mean, your end result, whatever the case is, you know. So you want to see some type of like statistical like result. So on paper, right, whatever the case is, or maybe it's your clothes that fit differently, or you measure yourself, or whatever the case is, you know. So weighing yourself, I wouldn't say is the best thing for people, especially in the beginning, because you're losing a lot of water weight, and I know myself, I did in the beginning, and it comes right off, and then from there you plateau, you hit this point where you're like, all right, now nothing's happening. But somehow measure your progress, and that will also keep you motivated, because it's, even if you're losing like an inch or 2 inches a week or a month or whatever the case is around say your midsection, and that's the main area you want to focus on. you can see like, okay, I'm actually growing, I'm actually progressing. So like, let me keep going with this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's important. So Murray slipped this question in because of me, I think, and you know this too, and you yell at me as well about those energy drinks, those
Yes.
monster drinks. What's your thoughts on
I think they're terrible. So I think that for your...
And just for the record, I have not had one this year. And if you notice,
Not one.
Not one.
Not
And if
one.
you look, these guys will scan my garbage to make sure. And in the
That
office,
intense,
and
huh?
there's because I would. They know as soon as they can hear the can pop, and they have about 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden I'm like running around telling everyone what they should be doing. So
Right. So, I still think you could run around and tell people what to do if you're just drinking tea or water or whatever the case is. So, but the energy drinks are just terrible for you. They're terrible for your heart. I mean, think of it like just like if you were to have, I don't know, say, over 4 cups of coffee a day, or depending on the person, honestly, caffeine affects you differently. Some people can have caffeine 2 hours before bedtime and it doesn't affect them, and some people can't. But I mean, energy drinks in general, depending on what type, but if you're talking like, to put names on them, Red Bull, Monster, things like that, they just have a bunch of other crap in them, and it's just not good for you.
that's a scientific word.
Yeah, there you go. So it's not healthy, and I'd say if you're trying to get some type of caffeine in there, maybe some coffee, but and if you're not a coffee drinker, I mean, just get some sleep and drink. Honestly, the first thing that I do when I wake up, I try to, is every morning, or I should say religiously, I drink a glass of water with lemon in it, and that kickstarts your metabolism, and honestly, it gives you energy even when at days, and I am a coffee lover, but days that I have to go without coffee or whatever the case is, the water wakes you up, get good sleep, and the energy drinks aren't needed.
So we're about 20 seconds? So 22 days without a monster drink. So I'm hanging in there. And
A dry January.
yeah, we'll try. We'll see what happens in February.
A dry
Figure this all out.
January.
Just talking about food, there's a lot of fad diets out there, and I know you're not a nutritionist per se, but what should be people doing to change their diets if they want to improve their overall physical physique and fitness?
Eat whole foods. Add things in, and then think about taking them out. So a lot of people take stuff out right away, and it's usually taking out things that could potentially hurt, honestly, just not even, I want to say, just you as a person, like depending on what nutrients and things like that you lack, you could be getting from those foods and you don't even know it. And a lot of people, they tend to, the first thing they take out is carbohydrates, which isn't necessarily the right answer for everyone, right? Everyone is different. So I think that adding things in, like vegetables, things that are healthier for you, obviously things that you need, like everyone needs some type of carbohydrate, some type of fat, some type of protein, right? And then you have your micronutrients that are your vitamins and minerals that you're getting from your vegetables and things like that, fruits. Adding things in, so just a whole food diet, and then from there figuring out what works with your body too, to give you the correct energy, to give you the satiety that you need, so something that fills you up, that doesn't just go in and out like a bagel or fruit, whatever the case is. In the morning I had talked to you about, you eat oatmeal, which is awesome, but add some protein in there too, and maybe some fats, and that satisfies you during the workout, gives you a little extra push.
And we were talking about that the other day, actually, about an egg, because I said, well, I don't want to eat an egg because the yolk is fattening, and Natasha pointed out, well, you need a little bit of fat, you need a balance.
Right.
So just cutting that out is really not going to be able to.
That's always what it is. So some type of balance in your diet that works for you, but everyone needs all 3 of those macronutrients: carbs, fats, and proteins. And everyone's is different, of course, and you could follow a diet that tells you exactly what to eat. And some diets, you know what I mean, they have you taking out all these different things and you're adding in all this processed food, and it's not the right choice, So, I mean, go back to, the beginning, and, you just want to eat from, whole foods from the earth, you know what I mean? Like, animals were put on the earth, like, to me, this is my opinion, to eat, you know, certain animals, right? Vegetables grown, you know, shop locally, something sustainable, something that's not in a package, that's not processed, you know what I mean? It's just, it was so much salt and things like that and additives that you don't even know what's in it. It's, you know, it's terrible for you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, other than me and Eileen, what are some things that you find challenging about your job?
Throw someone else under the bus.
So if anyone
well-
knows, there's two of us that go to the class, and you know, it challenges Natasha some mornings because
I like that. So it's a little bit of, you know, pressure there on me, but to me that's a privilege. So it's a privilege to be able to stand in front of you guys and help you to reach your goals, honestly. So it's not even that it's challenging. I think the most challenging part of my job is not being able to be right there with you guys every second of your day to make the right choices, whether it's nutrition wise or to give you like just some type of like pointer or whatever the case is. Or when you're on vacations or things like that, you know what I mean? You don't have to be on this strict schedule that you're on every single day, like when you're here on a normal basis, whatever. You guys come every Tuesday and Thursday classes, you come twice a week, you try to, me, for one-on-ones, but I mean, I just think that I'd like to see everyone stick to something because I know that you guys can, and I know you have the willpower to, we all do, and it's just a matter of what choice you want to make, you know? So the most challenging part is just not being able to help you guys see that you guys are making changes, even if it's small, day in and day out, and those matter. Because at the end of the day, at the end of that road, you've made all of these changes, and if you keep going, you're just going to keep moving forward, obviously in a positive direction, you know. So
I typically I round my shoulders a little bit. So Natasha's always yelling at me, as is Sergeant Brasino will always say, "Get your shoulders back." Because when I sit, I lean. I'm leaning a little bit now because the sun's coming in my eye. But sometimes I find it challenge for me is personally not being able to do exactly what you say.
Right.
You know, and that I think is the hard thing because you'll demonstrate and you're, you know, perfect and you know, probably a month ago, maybe now, I was working out in front of like a large group, and I was like so, like
in your head about
in my
it,
head
of
about
course.
Performing or working out, maybe not performing, but working in front of this large group and not doing it right.
Right.
So I think that's a challenge for me, and you're really good at, you know, I think
demonstrating also,
Demonstrating.
but in that same, so I think that that's another thing that's, I guess, challenging, but that's a part of my job, is trying to get people to do the movement in the correct way, right? So with correct form, because that is what matters. Form trumps anything. It doesn't matter. You could be doing a kettlebell swing the wrong way, and you could be rounding your back or whatever the case is, you know, not loading the weight correctly in your body, you know, the way that your body should be, you know, positioned, and you can just simply just hurt yourself by twisting the wrong way. So without any weight in your hand, and that's scary because then it could throw off your whole entire day, your week, your month, whatever it is. It depends on it, you know, you get injured. So my thing is like, and most trainers, I feel like, and coaches should be 100%, they should be their first, you know, thought in their head is this person doing this movement correctly? Like, I even tell you guys where to put the bar on your back or on a squat because it's too high on your neck, and I know this from experience. When I first started doing things, I was where you guys were at one point when you guys were first starting. And, you know, I learned from experience, but you want to do it the right way to get what you need to get out of it, or you're not going to see what you want out of it.
So I know you don't have any wishes for a superpower, so I want to
I
ask
do.
that. Oh,
I
go
do.
ahead. You thought
not,
of one.
Not a typical superhero, I guess you could say. So mine would be to, and this is a big thing for me this year because I feel like it's very hard for me to be present in everyday life, and I also work at a coffee shop on the side, and people are coming in and out, but I'd like to, even if it's, I want to say, not the right customer, whatever, maybe for me that day. And I kind of just want to hand them their coffee and, you know, they leave, whatever the case is. But I want to make someone smile, so I want to make someone's day and spread kindness and actually be able to, especially if someone's having a bad day, because I know that, you know, we all have those, obviously, to change their day, change their day, you know, that path. Like when you wake up, say you wake up in a bad mood and you're like, this is how my day is going to go. No. Like, don't tell yourself that, and I feel like that a lot of people do. I do myself sometimes, and sometimes I can get out of it, sometimes I can't, but to change someone's day, to spread kindness. There you go. It's corny, but
That's
really.
Okay. That's okay. Now, did we get any questions, Marie? I know we're kind of having some difficulties with Facebook Live this morning, and we apologize. We're going to try to work them out for next month. But if there was one thing in the fitness industry that you don't like, that you could change, what would that be? I know that's not on the list, but bye-bye, Mike.
Maybe I don't typically like, and it's funny because I started in this place when I first started working out, but in a lot of like corporate like Globo gyms, what their main focuses are and things like that, like machines, like teaching people the wrong way to go about fitness and their health and everything like that. And even the TV, it annoys me in the worst way of listening to commercials and fad diets, things like that. Like whatever the case is, I'm not going to name them. You know, everyone has their choices, what they make and what they like to do, and it's not per se, you know, wrong. But, you know, everyone likes different things. But I'd say I just don't like the fact that, like I said, there's a lot of things that, like, Globo gyms and, you know, the TV, the internet, whatever social media puts out there as this is what you should do for your fitness. And it's generally the same thing every time. And it's taking out carbs or doing certain movements that don't even benefit you, whatever the case is. But just think of it as... To me, I think of it as you want a full rounded approach in your fitness, you know, and one thing isn't specifically right for everyone too, and they make it that. So I'd say maybe changing people putting out the wrong information out there, and then people are stuck with that in their heads, like this is what's going to make me skinny, or this is what's going to make me fitter, or healthier, or bigger, bulkier, whatever the case is. And I'd say, you know, it's like people are being brainwashed, and it's depressing.
Gotcha.
So,
all right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming. And now, if someone wants to get in touch with Natasha, you can shoot me an email at chief@mounthopepolice.com. Mount Hope Police is all spelled out, and then I'll forward your information on to Natasha. Does classes over in Port Jervis, Milford area, right?
Yeah.
We're in the ship. So if anyone wants to. Any further information from Natasha, you can let me know. So I want to thank her for coming. See, that wasn't so bad. You were nervous. She was very nervous this morning, and I knew when she got talking about this, because she is so passionate about it, she would be fine. And I think we all in the gym, there's a bunch of people came today about it. Now, does anyone in the audience have any questions? No? Everyone's good? All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us, and I apologize for the technical difficulties. We're going to try to work them out. And if anyone has any questions, you can always give us a call at 386-8886, or you can email me at chief@mounthopepolice.com. So thanks for joining us. Thank you to Natasha, and you got your mug,
Thank
and
you.
you
Yes.
can keep.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.